Hello. In today's episode, we are going to be talking about the realization of being complete through a very, very old book, through a book or tale that is dear to all of us in this beautiful country, the USA. So stay tuned for how a children's book guides us on the path to self-realization. Thank you so much. Hello and welcome to GuidePost. GuidePost is a space for ourselves to just rest, to find the time for ourselves to be with our understanding of whatever we need to understand in this crazy world. And this is, let's say, a safe space. And well, in this safe space, I usually play with beautiful phrases and words and the history behind words. And we've been moving up in the alphabet, and we finally got to the letter F. And well, I was like, what do I pick for the letter F? And I picked a word that is fable, and like a tale. And a fable, the root of the word fable is fa, which is to tell, to say, in Latin, in Old Latin, and able. So you tell a tale where you are telling somebody that he is able. So all of the fables are about enabling people. It gives you a history or something to walk through, and at the end of the fable is this realization where you learn something. So fable, a tale that enables you. Fa, to say, and able, to enable. So then I thought of expanding myself into the etymology of the word, and I am going to leave it by the end. I am going to begin with our phrases of the day, and you will see how it ties with the fable that I picked for this day. Once again, I hope that we have a wonderful time, and this is a safe space for our personal growth, for our personal realization, for our understanding that we are complete. So let's begin. He who conquers himself is the mightiest warrior. Confucius. It says something like the answer is within, the wisdom is within, the magic is within, the answer is within. And the fable that we're going to discuss today carries the same message in a beautiful, beautiful long story. Second beautiful phrase of the day: your own self-realization is the greatest service you can render the world. Your own self-realization is the greatest service that you can render the world. By Ramana Maharshi. Once again, these two beautiful phrases tell something, that the answer is within, the wisdom is within, the magic is within, everything is within us. We shouldn't be looking for it outside. And well, with that, I continue with etymology, the story of words, and on the letter F, fable, fa plus able. And here we go. Our fable of the day was written by Lyman Frank Baum, and Most people may already have realized who is the fable that I am going to talk about, if you know the author, and if you don't, then I will try to keep it as a surprise for the end of this presentation. But the author, Lyman Frank Baum, was born in May 15, 1856, died in 1919, at the beginning of the 20th century, in Chittenango, New York, by the Finger Lakes region of New York, upstate New York. So he was the seventh of 9 children, and his most famous children's book was published in 1900, at the beginning of the past century, almost 120 years ago, or exactly 120 years ago. And it was the most famous children's book back then. 120 years ago, his book, his children's book, was the most sold book in the whole of the US. And it is unbelievable because the message that he gave us 120 years ago is so valid right now, and it is so beautiful. His story is so beautiful, it says so much. It is such a beautiful guide. It is my favorite fable, and of course movie. I am more familiar with the movie than with the book. Mr. Lyman Frank Baum wrote many children's stories. He was into the arts and theaters and writing and performance. That was his ambience. So he dies in 1919, and if we put everything in a context, the book was written before the First World War. So, and it was made a movie in 1939, and that was right at the beginning of the Second World War. So the book written 120 years ago, before the 2 large wars in the planet, has so much value today. The message is so powerful for today. What he did was, the issues that we go in our lives, he divided them in different characters. He didn't put everything in one bucket, like I am traveling through this, I am traveling through that, I am going through this, I am going through that. He pictured that on different characters. And it became a movie. It became a famous movie. We all relate to that movie in this country, in this beautiful country of us. And is about what I mentioned before. It's about that self-realization, that understanding that the answer is within, is the understanding that the magic is within us, the solution is within us, the the wisdom is within us, that we shouldn't be looking for that outside. So 120 years ago, Mr. Lyman Frank Baum was writing a story that is so valid today, that is about that realization that the answer is within, the wisdom is within, the magic is within. We shouldn't be looking for things outside. And he didn't put all of our issues in our life in one big thing. He divided them in different actors or personages or people on the story. So the issues on the path of realizing that we are complete, that everything is within us, are more or less the same issues always. And we think that we are not as smart, We think that we don't know how to act with compassion. We think that we are afraid, and we think that the answer is outside of us, not inside of us. And we also look at everything that is around us, the distractions, for the answer, and never looking inside. And in that fable, in that beautiful tale, the message is the same one. The message is the answer is right within us. So let's examine his tale, okay? And now you're going to realize what this beautiful book is as soon as you see this screen. Yes, The Wizard of Oz. The Wizard of Oz is the most beautiful American tale of self-empowerment, self-discovery, self-actualization. In the book, the issue of I am not smart enough is represented by the scarecrow. And when you see the movie, you can see that the scarecrow thinks that he's not smart enough. However, he gives several brilliant ideas along the movie, trying to escape the flying monkeys and the Wicked Witch of the East. So, are you yourself identifying with the scarecrow in this moment? And the other person is the Tin Man. The Tin Man represents the person that thinks that he has no compassion. He thinks that he has no heart. And because he has no heart, he cannot love. So love, heart, compassion, they all go together, represented by the Tin Man. So are you the person without compassion? Are you the person without a heart? Are you the person that is acting without love? And remember that we go through all of these stages in our life, okay? The lion is courage. He says that he thinks that he doesn't have courage. However, in the movie, when they are in real trouble, he has to get that courage out, and he has to act, and he has to defend his friends. So, are you the lion? Or you think that you don't have the courage? You think that you are afraid? Well, it is within you. It is within you. And then the other person in this story is Dorothy. Dorothy is always looking for the answer outside. She's not looking for the answer within, she's looking for the answer outside. She's waiting to go to the Wicked Witch of the East, or going to the Wicked Witch of the West, or going through the Yellow Road, or going through the Green City, or going through the Wizard of Oz, or taking the hot air balloon that would take her back. She's always looking for somebody that is going to save her. She doesn't see the answer within her. The flying monkeys. The flying monkeys represents all of the distractions that we have in our lives today. That's an easy one. That's an easy one. You know, you can say that one of the flying monkeys is your cell phone. The other flying monkey is your iPad. Your other flying monkey is your computer. The other flying monkey is the TV set. So because we are spending so much time nowadays in front of electronics and not living our lives. So the flying monkeys represent distractions. And the Wizard of Oz. Remember, the title is Oz, O-Z. When you think that the wizard is somebody outside, you have to go to him for answers. You have to go to him for the ride back home. You have to go to him for whatever direction that you need. Never thinking that the wizard is the wizard of us, US. The Wizard of Us, with U and S. And the red shoes, the scarlet shoes, that is the final answer. The final answer is on your shoes. What does it mean? Here is the teaching of the shoes. The answer is where you are standing in that moment. If you are in this moment in this city, here is the answer. You don't have to go anywhere else to look for the answer. If you are working right now, you are in your office, you are in your metal shop, if you are welding, in your welding shop, you are the answer right there. In that moment, you are the answer right here. Right here. Remember, the sole of the shoes, S-O-L-E, the sole of the shoes, is pronounced pretty much as soul, the soul or spirit. Soul, soul, we don't know the difference. So the answer is in your soul. The answer is right here where you are at. There is the answer. So these characters go through the movie and they are living all of these experiences thinking what they are supposed to think. The Scarecrow, that is not smart enough. Tin Man, that doesn't have a heart and doesn't know how to act with compassion. And the Lion, thinking that he doesn't have the courage to act. Dorothy, thinking that the answer is outside, until they finally get to the realization at the end of the movie that the answer was where she was standing right there. She had to click the heels. She just had to click the heels and she would be home. Now, what does this whole story says? Fable says that you are able. Is the Wizard of Oz. The answer is where you are standing, right there. And the magic is in your soul. So, at the end of the movie, Dorothy realizes that there is no such thing as the Wizard of Oz. When Toto removed the curtain from the place that they were searching for the Wizard of Oz, and they find a short person playing with all of these gadgets, making himself look big, look important, and Dorothy realizes there is no wizard outside of her. All of them realize the same thing, and now they are confused. There is no answer out there. There is no wizard, there is no president, there is no government, there is nobody that has the answer. So that realization for them, they feel cheated, they feel abandoned, they feel misguided. So they realize that the answer is not out there, but they still don't know where the answer is. So I want you to look at that clip where they realize there is no such thing as the Wizard of Oz. And here is the clip.
Please, sir, we've done what you told us. We brought you the broomstick of the Wicked Witch of the West. We melted her.
Oh, you liquidated her, eh? Very resourceful.
Yes, sir. So we'd like you to keep your promise to us, if you please, sir.
Not so fast. Not so fast. I'll have to give the matter a little thought. Go away and come back tomorrow.
Tomorrow? Oh, but I want to go home now.
You've had plenty of time already.
Yeah. Do not arouse the wrath of the great and powerful Oz. I said come back tomorrow.
If you were really great and powerful, you'd keep your promises.
Do you presume to criticize the great Oz? You ungrateful creatures think yourselves lucky that I'm giving you audience tomorrow instead of 20 years from now.
Oh,
The great Oz has spoken.
oh,
Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain. The great Oz has spoken.
Who are you?
Oh, I am the great and powerful Wizard of Oz.
You are? I don't believe you.
No, I'm afraid it's true. There's no other wizard except me.
you humbug!
Yes, it's exactly so. I'm a humbug.
Oh, you're a very bad man.
Oh, no, my dear. I'm a very good man. I'm just a very bad wizard.
At the very end of the movie, Dorothy wants to go home, and she is still looking at the person who used to call himself wizard. Now she knows he is not the wizard, but she still trusts him to take her back home. So, in this final part of the movie, the wizard, Dorothy, and Toto, all of them get into the basket of the hot air balloon to go back home. Right there, when they are inside of the basket of the hot air balloon, Toto jumps out. And, well, Dorothy also jumps out of the basket to get Toto. At that moment, the hot air balloon leaves with the wizard and without Dorothy. So now Dorothy is confused because, okay, he wasn't a wizard, but now I am left alone here. That is the second realization. The first realization is the president, them, the other one doesn't have an answer. And the second realization is they are not even going to help me. Okay? Nobody's going to help you. When that thunderstorm comes, nobody's going to help you. The answer will be within. Dorothy realizes that when the good witch of the East tells her, just click your heels 3 times and you will be home. The meaning is the answer is where you are standing, right there in the sole of your feet, in the soul of your being, right within you is where the answer has always been, within you.
Hey! What about Dorothy? Yes, how about Dorothy?
Yeah, Dorothy next.
Yeah, Dorothy,
Oh, I don't think there's anything in that black bag for me.
well, you forced me into a cataclysmic decision. The only way to get Dorothy back to Kansas is for me to take her there myself.
Oh, will you? Could you? Oh. Oh, but are you a clever enough wizard to manage it?
Child, you cut me to the quick. I'm an old Kansas man myself, born and bred in the heart of the western wilderness. Premier balloonist par excellence to the Miracle Wonderland Carnival Company, until one day, while performing spectacular feats of stratospheric skill never before attempted by civilized man, an unfortunate phenomena occurred. The balloon failed to return to the fair.
It did?
Weren't you frightened?
Frightened? You are talking to a man who has laughed in the face of death, sneered at doom, and chuckled at catastrophe. I was petrified. Then suddenly the wind changed, and the balloon floated down into the heart of this noble city, where I was instantly acclaimed Oz, the first wizard deluxe.
Oh.
Times being what they were, I accepted the job, retaining my balloon against the advent of a quick getaway. And in that balloon, my dear Dorothy, you and I will return to the land of E pluribus unum. And now, confer, converse, and otherwise hobnob with my brother wizards. And I hereby decree that until what time, if any, that I return, the Scarecrow, by virtue of his highly superior brains, shall rule in my stead, assisted by the Tin Man, by virtue of his magnificent heart, and the Lion, by virtue of his courage. Obey them as you would me. Thank you.
Oh, Toto, come back! Toto! Oh, don't go without me. I'll be right with you.
Stop that dog! This is a highly irregular procedure. Absolutely unprecedented. Ruined my exit.
Ah! Come back! Come back! Don't go without me. Please come back!
I can't come back. I don't know how it works. Goodbye, folks.
Oh, no, I'll never get home.
Stay with us then, Dorothy. We all love you. We don't want you to go.
Oh, that's very kind of you. But this could never be like Kansas. Auntie Em must have stopped wondering what happened to me by now. Oh, Scarecrow, what am I going to do?
Look. Here's someone who can help you.
Oh, will you help me? Can you help me?
You don't need to be helped any longer. You've always had the power to go back to Kansas.
I have.
Then why didn't you tell her before?
Because she wouldn't have believed me. She had to learn it for herself.
What have you learned, Dorothy?
Well, I think that it wasn't enough just to want to see Uncle Henry and Auntie Em. And it's that if I ever go looking for my heart's desire again, I won't look any further than my own backyard. Because if it isn't there, I never really lost it to begin with. Is that right?
That's all it is.
But that's so easy. I should have thought of it for you. I should have felt it in my heart.
No, she had to find it out for herself. Now those magic slippers will take you home in 2 seconds.
Oh, Toto, too?
Toto, too.
Oh, now?
Whenever you wish.
Oh, dear. That's too wonderful to be true. Oh, it's going to be so hard to say goodbye. I love you all, too. Goodbye, Tin Man. Oh, don't cry. You'll rust so dreadfully. Here's your oil can. Goodbye.
Now I know I've got a heart, because it's breaking.
Goodbye, Lion. You know, I know it isn't right, but I'm gonna miss the way you used to holler for help before you found your courage.
I would never have found it if it hadn't been for you.
I think I'll miss you most of all.
Are you ready now?
Yes. Say goodbye, Toto. Yes, I'm ready now.
Then close your eyes and tap your heels together 3 times. And think to yourself, there's no place like home. There's no place like home.
There's no place like home. There's no place like home. There's no place like There's no place like home.
Just follow the wizard of us, the wizard within each of us. And that is the message. And I want to say thank you very much for staying with us in GuidePost, a place to be safe and to go through our realization and understanding that we are complete. Thank you.